things are happening. And so we need to know what's going on. We need to know, just like Jesus knew he needed to go to Samaria. Okay? How did he know that? Well, you know, the Bible, if you take the Bible and you would break it into sections, you would find out that a third of the Bible contains dreams, visions, and stories about dreams and visions. It makes up a whole third of the Bible. Isn't that remarkable? And in Job it says, God speaks to man once, twice, but no one listens. So he speaks to men while they sleep, while they slumber on their beds at night. He seals their instructions. Wasn't that neat? That God would speak to us in our dreams. Wow, how many people dream? Anybody dream in here? Have you ever had a dream? You had a dream before? I'm not the only one that ever dreamt. You guys all had dreams. How many people in here have a dream that they remember? You remember a dream you had? How about when you was a kid? Is there a dream that you had when you were a child and you still remember? Anybody? Okay. Well, more than likely, that was God that spoke to you. Okay? Because most dreams we don't remember. Okay? And the Jewish people had a prayer that they prayed. I can't remember the name of it. It was a prayer that they prayed every night. And in this prayer, it said that God would protect them from bad dreams. Wow. What's that mean? That means the devil has access to dreams also, huh? Okay? So the Jewish people would say, you know, protect us from bad dreams. Anybody had a bad dream? Anybody ever had a bad dream? Okay. Wow, where did that come from? Okay. So this prayer that the Jews would pray would be that God would, number one, protect them from bad dreams. Number two, that they would remember the dreams. Okay? And that God would speak to them in their dreams. Because they knew the Bible. Believe me, they knew it. The Jewish people knew the Bible. And they knew that it was full of spiritual things that they couldn't understand. They couldn't explain. They couldn't comprehend. But they knew that it happened. And my point is God's able to speak to us in another way. Wow, a dream. What about visions? Did anybody ever read about visions in the Bible? Wow, there's all kinds of visions. Anybody ever had a vision? Anybody ever seen something and couldn't explain? Maybe in the daytime, or a flash, close your eyes and you see something in your mind. Wow, where did that come from? Well, it came from one of three places. It either came from God, it came from the devil, or it came out of your imagination. Okay? How do you know? Well, you know, if you think about it. Okay? My point is that God is what? A communicator? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and He was in the beginning with God. He's saying, I'm a communicator. I can communicate, and I do communicate on all levels. I never stop communicating. Think because you don't hear from me a certain way that I'm not communicating. I guarantee He's communicating with you right now. Okay? He has such a sense of humor, okay, that He uses someone like me to communicate with you. Alright? Now that's funny. I mean, I don't care who you are, that's funny. Okay? So God's even capable of using us to communicate with other people. Wow. So God will speak, and you know what? He don't even always use Christians. Isn't that something? He can use anybody. It doesn't matter what's your past. Think about you before you were saved. Alright? God is so we always have to be listening for God to speak. Okay? Because He's going, what did He say to David? When you hear the wind blow in the mulberry trees. Wow. That's Doesn't sound very spiritual, does it? The wind blowing in the mulberry trees. But David was waiting for that because he had communicated with God, all right, and knew to listen for the wind in the mulberry trees. Okay? Now, in an audible voice or an internal voice or waiting for someone else, he'd have missed it. Right? If God said, now listen for the wind in the mulberry trees, and if he wasn't in the mulberry trees, he was going to miss it. It would have changed history. Okay? But where did he go when he knew he had to listen there? All right? So this is things that happen in the spiritual realm that we can't explain, that we can't... and it's kind of neat in a sense is because it leaves us on the edge. We don't know what's going to happen next. Okay? And I think God likes that. You know what I mean? I think God... because what happens, it causes us to push in. Okay? To anticipate. You ever... I'm trying to think of an example where you was in anticipation of something's going to happen. You know, maybe it was a birthday party, a surprise birthday party you was going to have for somebody, or you was getting ready to go on vacation, and you was kind of anxious, you know, for that moment to happen. You knew at that moment in time. Yep, my mom, carpet. You know, so I purposely waited half the day before I left. No, just kidding. I just had a really busy schedule, and I'm pushed from a lot of different directions. People want me to do a lot of stuff, so and I don't tell anybody no, so it just complicates things. But anyway, the point is we have to have a balance of spirit and truth. Okay? Now here's what happens when we don't. Okay? You think, well, I can get by with just how I've been living my life all this time. Well, yes and no. Because once that you know the truth, then you're accountable for it. Okay, so we got this balance of spirit and truth. Okay? And it's very important that we balance this out in our life. Okay? If we go to the truth side, and truth starts lifting up spirit, what happens? Is that good? Well, it sounds like it should be. I mean, it's the truth. I know the Bible in and out. I know, but you don't know the spirit. Well, then you become dogmatic and you become pharisaical. You know, the Jews, the Sanhedrin Jews that put Jesus to death had the first 5 books memorized, the Torah. Memorized. They knew every word in the Torah. Okay? They knew the truth. They knew the Word of God. But guess what? They didn't know the Spirit of God when they stood in front of them and they killed him. Okay? So what happens is, if we get so bound up in the truth, okay, we can be blinded. Okay? We have to have that balance. Okay? We have to have that balance. Because we don't want the Spirit of God in front of us and we not recognize Him. And that could be a person on the street. It could be anything. The Spirit of God is not limited by anything. Okay? Now, what happens if we go to the Spirit side? Well, you know, once again, I'm not going to get into denominations, but there's denominations that believe in the gifts, which I believe in the gifts of the Spirit. I believe in every one of them. If it says it in here, I believe it. Okay? But you get these churches that do this. I've never personally been to one, but I've heard about them, and so they're kind of get overboard in the spiritual side of it. Now, what happens when we do, and we don't have the truth to back us up? Well, guess what? The devil is a spirit, right? The devil's a spirit masquerading as an angel of light. Wow. I'm pretty sure that he could fool any one of us here. right now. And probably until the time they put us underground, the devil was able to fool you. And the only reason that he's not, or he doesn't at all times, is the Spirit of God. Alright? So it's the Spirit of God that protects us. So Spirit and truth. So if we don't have a balance of the Word, of the truth, and know it in our hearts, then the devil has the capability of causing us to believe anything, because he's very good at masquerading as the angel of light. If he wasn't, God wouldn't have put it in his Word. Why did he put that in there? It was a warning. Okay? That people, and you see it all the time with witchcraft and all this stuff in the movies and on TV. I use that for a reference, but all you have to do is drive downtown, you can see the same thing. You know what I mean? It is no different than what's on TV. It's where we live, it's what we live in. So this spirit realm is very, very real. And what happens with people, okay, remember the group of people I was watching on TV that was the church and the people that were not, and is the fact that they're all being influenced by the spirit side, but not with the truth. Okay? And it's not like the Spirit of God's not working inside of that realm of evil, because he is. You know, I've heard this saying, you know, the devil works in church and God works in the bar. Have you ever heard someone say that? I mean, God's at the bar trying to recruit people, and the devil's at the church trying to recruit people. You know what I mean? It's not going to stop. It's always going to be that way. But it's very important that we learn to communicate with God on his level. Okay, not just the level that we think that God is. Okay? And so we know that the Father is seeking those who will worship him in spirit and in truth. Okay? So we have to know that there is a spiritual realm. Okay? That there's good and there's evil and there's angels and there's demons. Okay? And there's a spiritual battle going through. What's the spiritual battle for? It's for your soul. Your soul. Okay? The devil hates God so much that he knows he can't do nothing to God. He can't. And he's a loser. Okay? But he wants to take everybody he can with him. As many as he can. And God has set up this this plan. Well, this is how it works. God set up the rules. And this is the rules. Okay? And so we have to go by those rules. You know what I mean? To eliminate. Now, we're always going to have spiritual battles in our life. Is anybody having a spiritual battle right now? I mean, you know, it could be sickness, or it could be people that's in our lives that are unsaved, or people that's causing commotion, or it can be anything. Because there is no separation between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. Okay? It's all interwound. You know, you don't leave the spiritual realm when you go home from church, or you don't enter into it when you come to church. You're in it all day long, every day, 24/7, and everybody is. Okay, so we have to have this balance, and I said all this to say that Jesus knew that something was up, that he had to go to Samaria. Okay, and what did he have to go there for? Well, he had to go there not just for a Samaritan woman or a Samaritan village, but he went there for us, because he said in his word this sentence. The Father said it again. Let's read it again, because I didn't say this. This is not I'm just quoting a famous author here. Alright? But the hour is coming, and now is when the true worshipers. Now, do we want to be true worshipers? We do, right? I mean, this is what this is all about, right? We want to further grow. We want to progress. We want to mature.